It's the holiday season of 2025, and that means that the year is coming to a close. So today I wanted to share with you guys a bit of a wish list for Rise of Kingdoms. You can call this my 2026 wish list, or you can call this my Christmas wish list for Rise of Kingdoms. But in this video, we're going to talk about some things that I want to see come to the game next year. And we're also going to talk about a couple of things that I asked for last year that we did actually end up getting, because 2025 has been a pretty good year for Rise of Kingdoms. So let's jump right in. But first, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Look who came to visit again. She just walk. Yeah, just go ahead, walk right in front of me while I'm recording. That's no problem. And before we jump in, of course, as you guys know, I'm a sponsored partnered creator with Rise of Kingdoms. So if you want more raw content, consider subscribing down below. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers, and as you can see here, we are looking at the Olympian Arena that's currently going on in my current KVK. I am, let's see, what's my number here at this thing? I'm 140 in line right here. I'm really curious to see how the Gangnam-chan with Achilles actually works out here, because this is a 1v1 dueling arena, and I feel like going all in on AoE might not be the play, especially because Gangnam-chan primary gets that super big healing. We'll have to wait and see. He seems to perform pretty well here, but we'll actually talk more about the Olympian Arena later in the video. First, let's talk about a couple of things that I asked for last year in my Rise of Kingdoms wish list for 2025 that we actually did end up getting this year. Now, the first thing was remastered graphics. Now, we already knew we were getting them, but I wanted them to come to Home Kingdom, and we did actually get it. But the thing that we did not know that we were going to be getting, or at least we didn't know for sure if we would be getting it or if it's coming in 2025 or not, but that was the new troop models in the game. And honestly, I think they look fantastic. And realistically, one of the things that I love to kind of look back on these things, but I remember when they revealed the new graphics and there was like a small vocal minority of people that were like freaking out about, oh my god, the old graphics are so much better, even though like no one really actually thought that. They were just nostalgic or familiar with those. There's comfort in what you're familiar with, right? And I just find it funny that here we are months or like a year later and everyone's moved on. You don't hear a peep about the graphics anymore. It's just not a big deal like I said it would be back then. Just a general improvement to the game. It's good for new players, it's good for everybody. So I'm glad we got that, especially because the devs did the impossible and made it so you could just literally switch back and forth, which if you watch back at my 2024 wishlist video, I was like, man, it's gonna be really cool if they could pull that off, and they actually did, which was awesome. And before you comment, I know the originals are kind of better for like map planning and things like that, but anyway, we didn't get the remastered in-city graphics like I wanted to. I did not really expect us to get that, to be honest, although I do think they smoothed out some things and I think it looks okay, right? It looks okay. But beyond that, a couple of other things that we did end up getting that I wanted last year was the auto peacekeeping feature. Actually, if you guys watch last year's wish list, I asked for this feature because I saw how good it was in AOEM, right? And that was like multiple games have had this feature and it just felt like we were missing it in Rise of Kingdoms. Like once I got a taste of it in other games, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a no-brainer. We need this in the game. This is fantastic. We did get it, and I am happy to say I like this feature. I enjoy it quite a bit. Now, unfortunately, it's locked behind the 30-day gem supply, which I don't love that, to be honest with you. I don't love that. I mean, frankly, there's no reason for that to be the case. Like I'm actually kind of curious, maybe you guys can comment down below, is there anybody out there that actually bought the 30-day gem supply because of the new exclusive features that you see right here, like these 3 new features? Did you guys actually buy it for this, or was it the case that you were already paying for it and now you just have new features on top of it? I'm curious to know, right? Because maybe there's some people out there that literally started buying this for the auto peacekeeping and auto help, but I feel like most people that have this were probably already going to use it. Realistically, I would have loved to see auto peacekeeping come to just everybody. Now, I know free-to-play players really should be chaining instead of using their AP auto peacekeeping, but I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that. But we did end up getting it. So hey, beggars can't be choosers. I'm happy that I have it and I'm glad that it's in the game. Beyond that, they just barely made the cut here for 2025, but the Barbarian Fort search feature is officially here. Let's see if we actually, there we go. We can find one. That was really challenging to find. I would have never found that without the Barb Fort search feature. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious. This feature is fantastic. I'm so glad that it's actually here. I asked for it last year. We do have it now. So thank you to the developers. There's been lots of great updates this year for Rise of Kingdoms, some of which I asked for last year. But now let's talk about some things that I would like to see come to Rise of Kingdoms in 2026. Now, I don't want to say commander swap, right? We've talked about commander swap a ton on the channel. If they're going to do another one, they're going to do another one. I have no input on that. I can't tip the scales. The community is already vocal about that. So like, what's another Omniarch video going to do, right? I would love another commander swap. Do I think we need one? You can watch. I made a whole video about that. You can watch that. I just posted it on the channel a couple of days or weeks ago at the time of posting this video. But of course, it goes without saying, I'd like another one, if not for me, but for everybody else. I know lots of people kind of feel like they need one, but if we're going to push it a step further, I would love to see an equipment swap event that is maybe a one-time thing, and maybe it's only for one piece, right? So like with commander swap, we get 2 swaps whenever it comes around. For the equipment swap, maybe we only get it for 1. I would find this event tremendously useful. Personally, I think the reason that a lot of people would like this event is because they have old accessories lying around from a long time ago that were much more relevant like 3 or 4 years ago when they actually came out. It would be great if I could just swap this into a Horn of Fury or into like literally anything else, basically, because as power creep has progressed through the game, the concealed dagger has been left behind and the 5% health reduction ain't what it used to be, unfortunately. So either buff this thing or let us swap it at least once. I know plenty of people who have crafted pieces that they regret, like they have like the infantry set piece legs, which I guess are a little more relevant now with the new crystal tech. But at the end of the day, like, you know, everyone kind of has that one piece that they sort of wish was something else, right? There's very few players out there who have absolutely zero mistakes unless they actually went in and dismantled legendaries, which is crazy. You've got to be a spender to do that. Not that I'm not, but I just haven't hit that point yet. So an equipment swap I think would be great, and you guys can let me know in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in. Do you feel like that would benefit your account, or do you feel like that would just, it's just too much, like we don't need more swaps, like forget it? Let me know down in the comment section below. The next thing I want to touch on here is kind of this is kind of generic, but I do actually want another civilization, and I'm a little bit worried about the future of civilizations in the game. And the reason for that is because they did actually add this civilization bonus reset feature where you can actually just literally swap your civ bonus to a bonus of another troop type. So as you'll notice here, I am currently France, but I have the realm of the king bonuses, which you get from Ottoman Empire, right? And that's because I still run 2 skill damage marches in the field. When I went into this KVK, my expectation was that I would be running 3 skill damage marches, my Ragnar Scipio, my Hua with Joan, and obviously my Emperor Qin with YSG. But if you guys watch my more recent videos, you'll know that I immediately benched Hua Joan. Like I literally used them on the field like 3 times, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm not doing another KVK like this. I'm just not. And I instantly maxed Gangemchan. Okay, I did that. Would I recommend you invest in him? It really depends, right? It really depends. If you're running 2 calves, I think you kind of need him. He might be a trap. Like we might look back on him and be like, oh, like he's just, you know, calves William Wallace basically, but he's tremendously tanky. Like his healing and the way his healing works is the best iteration of healing they've ever done. So as of right now, I am happy with my investment in Gangemchan. But you know, is he a must-have for every player in the game? I don't think so. Is he an Emperor Qin? No. Is he a Baichi? No. Is he a King Arthur? No. So keep that in mind. That being said, I am not upset with my investment here because again, the Achilles with Gangemchan is just very tanky, survives in the field much longer than I thought, so that's great. All that to say though, I kind of went off on a tangent there. I would like a new civilization in Rise of Kingdoms, if for no other reason than because it kind of drums up hype for the game, right? Every time that they release a new civilization for Rise of Kingdoms, I'm sure you guys remember the Mayans came out earlier this year in January. Honestly, the Mayan launch I feel like was the most lukewarm launch of all of the civs. You guys can let me know in the comments if you agree with that or not. I feel like the Greece launch was pretty cool. I feel like the Egypt launch was fine. I feel like the Viking launch was the most popular launch by quite a mile. Maybe that just has to do with the when it came out, right? Like I think this was 2021 or 2022, but either way, I like the hype that comes with a new civilization, because usually there's a big marketing push for the game. Lots of new people join the game because of the new civilization, or just because they see more ads for the game, or whatever the case might be. And I just find it really cool. I like when they add new civs. It's just something new, something fresh. And I think, you know, frankly, I feel like we kind of need one, because I feel like we got spoiled with Ottoman for so long, where we had such good bonuses here. And I feel like now that skill damage is less relevant than it was, you know, 3 years ago, I would love to see a more universal, you know, infantry health 5%, troop march speed 5%, commander normal damage 5%, right? Like I feel like that's what everyone's looking for, right? Or cavalry health 5%, march speed and normal damage, something like that. That would be really nice. So and I know we've got Mayan, which has the 3% normal damage, but the thing is, they don't have no march speed here, right? And I really like the march speed for open fielding. So I don't know, maybe I'll try out Maya, maybe I will, but either way, I'd love a new civ. I feel like there's an opportunity to add some cool bonuses with it, and it just brings a lot of hype to the game, and so I really would like to see that. Now if they do add a new civ, hopefully they do it in the summer again. I feel like the January launch of the Mayans was like kind of, I don't know, nothing exciting really happens in January, so maybe my brain is kind of skewed towards like forgetting about it. But like, I don't know, let's see them launch like the Persian civilization this summer and just have a really cool marketing push and get a lot more people interested in the game. I think that would be awesome. I think the summer marketing pushes work really well, at least for the United States, because all the kids are out of school. Either way, let's see a new civ. Tangent over. Let's move on to the next thing. I talked about this in a recent video, but I do want to mention it here. The museum system, I really want to see them refresh this. I would love to see them kind of, like, quite frankly, just start over, right? Like just come up, go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to make this system relevant, because I remember, you know, this is one of those Pepperidge Farm moments, but you know, I remember when the system first was announced, everyone was hyped about it, right? Like back then, this was almost as hype as the commander swap event. And I know like a lot of people who weren't around then, or you weren't paying attention or whatever, like you might not find that to be the case, but trust me, I remember making videos about the museum, and everyone was hyped about this. They were very excited that they could possibly, potentially, maybe squeeze more value out of their older commanders. And then they announced that there would be tier 2 upgrades, and like everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a system that we can progress through, like, oh my god, this is going to be great, we're going to be able to constantly be able to buff our older commanders. And then like we quickly realized that the buffs aren't great for a lot of the commanders, especially the ones that needed the most. And also the updates here come out very infrequently, right? And so it's like the hype for this kind of just tanked after people realized that actually it doesn't matter, right? Like these commanders, no matter what, aren't going to be able to compete. And so for me, I would love to see them come in and maybe just, you got to do something else here, right? Maybe you scrap it and call it the prestige system or something like that, and maybe you combine this currency with, you know, maybe if I use 2,000 of these coins and 5,000 of these coins, and I sacrifice 100 legendary commander sculptures, all of a sudden all the stats on Minamoto are like quadrupled and his damage factor is quadrupled, right? Like, so I don't know, some prestige system that like actually beefs up the commanders to a level that actually matter. I think that would be really cool. You guys can let me know if you like that suggestion or not. I know that, you know, people are already strapped for commander sculptures, so another system that drains them probably isn't great, but you get my point. I think that the current iteration here, most of the stuff is just ignored besides the YSG at this point. Maybe Martel for certain garrisons, Mulan obviously just for Canyon, and that's kind of it, right? Like William, I guess, sees some play too, but either way, oh, and Attila too. But regardless, I'd love to see them go back and try and like make the museum system relevant, because I do think that, you know, one of the problems that Rise of Kingdoms has faced forever is getting new players to catch up to older players, and we have this system that attempts to bridge the gap and it misses the mark, and it's like, well, don't give up on it, right? Like let's make it work. Like let's see if we can fix and make it better. That's where I'm at with the museum system. Next up, I'm going to touch on something that I actually mentioned last year, and I may have even mentioned it the year prior, but I want to see more mini games in Rise of Kingdoms. And when I say that, I don't mean things like Golden Kingdom or like Soroli or like Realm of Mystique, right? Don't get me wrong, these are all fine events, right? Like I don't mind them. Even Golden Kingdom, I don't mind it that much anymore. I think they've improved it quite a bit since it first came out. But what I'm talking about here is actual mini games that have gameplay that differ from what's already in Rise of Kingdoms, right? So Realm of Mystique is its own sort of like instanced thing thing where you go through these different levels and there's different bosses and things like that, and I get that, and that's cool. Same thing with Soroli, it's actually just like a raid boss type of rush type of thing. That's cool as well. But these events still are simply just you controlling your marches out on the field, right? Like it's still the same mechanics. What I'm asking for is something even more simple than that, right? I'm talking about, you know, we've all seen the ads where there's the little soldier, right? And on the right side of the screen there's a big red block that says X2, and on the left side of the screen it's a green block that says -2, right? And you watch the ad and the stupid person in the ad goes towards the -2 and they lose 2 soldiers, right? When everyone knows you're supposed to go through the ×2, that way you get twice the number of soldiers, you know what I mean? And there's a game called Last War, and they basically took that mini game and like built the entire system around that. I think that's cool, right? And that's what I mean when we're talking about mini games. Same thing with Kingshot. Kingshot is basically just a medieval version of Whiteout Survival. I don't play any of those games anymore. I only play Rise of Kingdoms right now, but they have a fishing mini game in Kingshot and in Whiteout Survival that are, it's like literally exactly what I wanted Rise of Kingdoms to do with their fishing mini game, and we didn't get it, right? And it's literally just like one of those, you know, early 2000s flash games almost, where you just try to drag the fish across the screen and dodge the different thing. And like, this sounds stupid, right? It sounds dumb, and I know we're talking about a war strategy game, and I get that, right? But really, one of the things with Rise of Kingdoms is like a lot of these events really take up a lot of time, if we're being honest with ourselves, right? Like Golden Kingdom, one of the things that they've constantly, like the reason they've constantly had to refresh this is because people were frustrated with how long that it actually takes to do. Same thing with Soroli, same thing with Realm of Mystique. Now, not as much, like especially with Soroli if you just do it on like hard mode instead of nightmare or whatever the top level is, but same thing with Kurok Ceremony, right? Like back in the day, Kurok Ceremony was like 100 levels. A lot of you guys don't remember that because you didn't play the game back then, but like they've constantly had to like reevaluate these events because they take so much time, but also like the rewards are so good you have to do it, right? And my point is, like, we need events that are like, they're just whimsical and just actually fun to play. Like what, like you just play them because it's like, oh, it's literally just cheap dopamine. Like I know this sounds, it sounds crazy, but this is gonna lead into my next point on the wish list, and that is, you know, more features that kind of are a little bit more lenient with the player's time. Okay, if I can play a fishing mini game for, you know, 1 or 2 minutes every time it comes around, and I get, you know, a certain number of materials for my crafting, or for, you know, I get really lucky and I get 2 gold heads or something like that, like that would be a good return on investment for the player's time while still giving them a reason to log in, right? Like those events, they're just fun, there's no strategy, it's just fun, right? And it respects the player's time, right? And you can even attach a freaking bundle to it if you want to, right? Like I think that's what Kingshot does, where like the rewards are like a tiered battle pass almost, and there's like a whole half of it that you unlock with like gems or something, I don't remember, but like there's ways, if they want to monetize it, there's ways to monetize it, right? While still being fun, still being free to play friendly, still being something new and exciting, and still respects the player's time. And that's why I want those mini games, right? It's not because I don't like the current game, right? Like the current game is great. Obviously I've been playing it for like over 7 years now, and one of the reasons I said we were going to talk about the Olympian Arena in this video is because I do want to spend some time talking about respecting players' time with these things. And I think the Olympian Arena is actually a pretty great way to do that, right? I mean, this is actually a way where players can send armies here. Like, as you can see, I've sent 3 armies here, okay? And they can send their armies here and actually like fight the enemy and actually get kill points and actually severely wound the enemy and actually like have some sort of war thing going on without actually needing to sit here and micromanage my troops, right? Same thing with the new, what's it called? Same thing with the new army group feature. Now I haven't actually used this, I haven't experienced this yet. I'm excited to give this a try, but based on the way that it's actually described here, you can give your troops or your armies for another player to control, and that's fantastic. If you're busy, you've got things to do, but you still want to have your armies and your power contribute to the war that's going on while you're at work or something, right? So, you know, these are great examples of respecting players' time, and I want to see more stuff like that. To kind of elaborate on this point, I want to share with you a story, right? A week or 2 weeks ago, when the 16-hour war frenzy cooldown timer kicked in, right, for the Pioneer servers, there were people that got very mad about the way that it was implemented, right? Which, by the way, you guys signed up to test a feature, right? Like, that's what it's called, testing a feature. Like, you can't expect it to be perfect, you're the test dummies, like that's the whole point. So and anyway, I'm not going to go down that path, right? But I mean, if you're testing a feature, expect the feature to be incomplete, right? Like let's be real. Anyway, my point is, when that first came out, there was a lot of backlash about the way that the system was implemented, right? And I was kind of like sitting here like reading through like Discord comments and different things like that, and kind of just like, you know, seeing what the community's saying about it. And my girlfriend was you know, sitting here in the room with me, and she was like scrolling on TikTok or something, and I just kind of made a comment about it passively. I was like, hey, you know, like there's this new feature that people are really upset about, and I explained to her like there's a 16-hour cap on war, and the way that it's implemented, people are mad. And she like looked at me and she's like, oh yeah, well of course they're going to be mad, right? 16 hours is way too high. And I actually laughed. I started laughing, right? Because that was such an organic, genuine like response from an average gamer, right? Like she plays Genshin, she plays, right now she's addicted to Chef RPG, she plays like the Animal Crossing type games, but her organic, genuine response to that was so funny, because I had to explain to her, I was like, no, people are complaining that 16 hours isn't enough, right? Like it's too low. And she like was so confused about that, right? And I understand there's some nuance to how it's actually implemented. I'm not like blind to the actual criticisms of the system, okay? I get that, but my point is, you know, between that, and also, if you guys don't know, I do have another YouTube channel called Omniarch TV. That channel for the past like 3 months has gotten more than double the amount of views of this channel every single month. The support over there has been insane. So if you guys didn't know I had a gaming news channel, now you do. It's linked down below. But one of the things that I've learned over the past like 3 to 6 months by growing that channel is I've been really understanding like the broader gaming market, and 16 hours on a mobile game is actually insane. Like it is almost clinically insane that people would actually want to spend that much time on a game. And like, look, I've played Rise of Kingdoms forever. I get why people want to do that, right? I've done it, right? So I get it. But my point is, most people don't want to do that, right? Like most gamers by far, it's not even close, like 90% or more of gamers will not, they just won't do that, right? Especially for a mobile game. And you see that, right? Like there's other, I mean, surprise, surprise, there's other mobile war strategy games out there, and some of the more recent ones that we've mentioned in this very video have gotten very popular, right? And the reason, one of the reasons for that is because the combat is more simple, there's less involved fighting, and you know, that's a give and take, right? Some people really love, I think the open field combat in Rise of Kingdoms is the bread and butter. It is what sets Rise of Kingdoms apart from everybody else, and it's, I mean, no one's been able to replicate it as good as Rise of Kingdoms, right? Objectively, straight up, it's fantastic. But there's definitely something to be said about the average gamer and the way that they game in 2025 versus the way that they game back when Rise of Kingdoms got popular, right? When the world is shut down and you've got nothing else going on, it's a lot easier to be inside playing KVK for 16 hours, right? Or 18 hours or 20 hours, you know what I mean? The world is very different now, and Rise of Kingdoms has not adapted to that. And they're trying, they're starting to. I mean, you're watching right in front of your eyes the Olympian arena, right? So they're kind of inching in that direction. But you know, we're talking about my wish list for 2026. I want to see more stuff like that, right? And I don't necessarily just want to see more of it for me. I want to see more of it like that because they need to do that if they want the game to stay successful going into 2026 and beyond, right? I mean, you have to meet the customer or the consumer where they are, and people downloading Rise of Kingdoms today, you know, if they knew that the end game, high end gameplay requires like, okay, 3 or 4 times a year you're gonna have to call out of work these days, and these days, and you're gonna have to play for 24 hours straight, or you know, we won't get into other ways that people accomplish staying online 24/7. But my point is, like, if people knew that, they would never download the game, right? Like, just straight up, I don't know what to tell you, they're not going to do it, right? So the reason that I want to see more mini games, lighter mini games, casual mini games, and the reason I want to see more events like this and like the army group feature is because the more that the game can sort of shift towards respecting players' time and not taking up as much of it, the better the game will be for the future of the game, right? I can't believe I just saw Guan Yu get crushed like that. Who brought a Guan Yu? Come on, man. In 2025 you brought a Guan Yu? I'm kidding. Oh my god, we got a Guan, oh dude, we just saw a Joan primary, brother. Hamoud absolutely just ate right there. Hamoud is an absolute giga chad. You can't be throwing your freaking Joan primary into Hamoud's, like, what, this is infantry, right? Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Anyway, oh, he's gonna lose here. Oh my god, Hamoud's an absolute animal. He didn't even have full health and he still won it. Oh, that's just disgusting. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, is he gonna win again? Oh, Hamoud, what are you doing, buddy? You're absolutely crushing him. I'm so glad I caught this on film. This is crazy. I can't believe it. Like, oh, nah, dude. Is he gonna do it again? Oh, he did it to him. He did it to him again. That's crazy. Oh my God. At this point, I'm just curious to see how far he goes, right? Like he's at half health and he popping off at half health. That's crazy. Oh no, we got the Shajar. We got the healing. Yeah, that's an L. We knew it was gonna be an L, right? It was archers. It was Emperor Chin. It was Shajar with healing. There was just no way. Yo, goat Hamoud, bro. Goat Hamoud. That's crazy. Anyway, well, I forgot what I was even saying. I got distracted by the Giga Chad. Yeah, more features that respect players' time, not just for me, but because from what I've seen anecdotally and through actual research of the gaming industry at large, that's what will be needed to keep the game healthy moving forward. Again, this is one of those things like where Rise of Kingdoms and like the core player base, what they want is kind of like antithetical to what the game needs, right? And so Rise of Kingdoms is in like this really weird spot where like in order to do the right thing, you're gonna piss off people, you know? And so I can understand that they're in a really tough spot with stuff like that, because Rise of Kingdoms, it's like core identity, and all the core players that have been playing for 5+ years, they have this expectation of what the game is and what the game should be. And you know, I mean, change sucks, right? Like people do not like change. But again, you know, if we're being a little bit more open-minded and we think, okay, well, oh, Hamoud's back, oh dude, it's over, Hamoud's Emperor Chin's back, oh, it's GG, it's yo, bro, oh come on, bro, oh no, he's gonna do it again, bro, oh, he's gonna do it again. Yeah, that's not a surprise at all. That's not a surprise at all. Oh my God. He is just an absolute monster, just an absolute beast. There he goes down finally. Anyway, yeah, I think you guys get the point with me talking about the respecting players' time thing. Hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from with that and what my intentions are with that. I don't want to change the game entirely, but like, I think some compromises are going to be needed. If we want to see the 10-year or 15-year anniversary of Rise of Kingdoms, I think that's what we might need. Okay. With that being said, I do want to round out the end of this video by going over some commanders that I would like to see. Now, a lot of these commanders are the usual suspects. I've talked about them in recent videos. I've talked about them in past wish lists. And first of all, let's just get Sun Tzu Prime out of the way. We all know we want it, right? And I was actually thinking about this recently because I talked about my most recent video. We talked about the upcoming infantry and kind of what I want from that. And we talked about Sun Tzu Prime. And I realized, like, if you look through, it's crazy how the most popular epic commander doesn't have a prime, but everyone else kind of does, right? Like Boudica's got a prime, Belisarius has a prime, Joan has a prime, Herman has a prime, Scipio has a prime. It's nuts how all these commanders have primes, but not the one commander that's actually the best. So you know Sun Tzu Prime is coming, right? They're gonna do it. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. He's gonna come when you least expect it, okay? And not just because players love Sun Tzu, and not just because he's the strongest epic commander, but also because Rise of Kingdoms is, I mean, the game is a Chinese developed game. Like they often take time to celebrate historical Chinese figures. And so it's like, man, what a great opportunity that they have with Sun Tzu Prime, who's already beloved by people, right? Like I'm going to be completely honest and sort of expose my ignorance here. And I do apologize, but I don't know if I had heard of Bai Qi or Liu Che before Rise of Kingdoms, right? I'm just, again, call me ignorant, call me stupid. And I'm not even saying that as a diss. I just didn't know who they were straight up. Like I went to school for business. I was big into science growing up, chemistry, bio, that was my thing. Then when I went to college, it was business, marketing, all that stuff. So history and the humanities, you know, I tried to scrape together what I could from the education system, but a lot of ancient Chinese figures just missed them, right? And I'm not a big movie guy, not a big TV guy, so like I don't know, okay? So forgive me, maybe that's maybe I've committed a cardinal sin by admitting that, but that's one thing that's cool about Rise of Kingdoms is I can learn about these new historical figures that I didn't know anything about, right? And seeing how much people love Bai Qi and Liu Che in the game, well man, how great is it going to be when Sun Tzu Prime comes out? This is easy. This is a commander everyone knows already, right? So the love for this commander is going to be through the roof, right? So I'm stoked about that. I think new Sun Tzu Prime definitely gonna come to the game at some point. I've gone on record saying I think it's going to be a special KVK commander, but we'll have to wait and see what they actually have in store. Beyond that, of course, Vlad the Impaler, he's like #1 on the list of like, why isn't he in the game? I think that would just be so cool. Listen, Rise of Kingdoms, if you're going to do Vlad the Impaler, okay, first of all, make him Giga Chad, but second of all, drop him in October and give him the Dracula vibe. Give him the Dracula aura. Oh, yo, the drip. I can already see it now. I'm telling you, for Halloween, drop the Dracula commander, oh brother, it's gonna be sick. Okay, it's gonna be awesome. Hattori Hanzo, Oda Nobunaga, which by the way, I've seen advertisements floating around social media with Oda Nobunaga in them. I don't think it's a leak because it doesn't actually look like a Rise of Kingdoms character. Like the art style is completely different, but it could be hinting at their testing if the audience at large cares about Oda Nobunaga, right? Like if a bunch of people click on an ad with him, then it's like, oh, people like that commander, let's put that commander in the game, right? Like they could unironically be like A/B testing to see if people actually like him or not. So he actually could legitimately be coming to the game. I don't know, I don't think that would be a surprise to pretty much anybody at all. And then also, like I said in my recent video, Leonidas Prime, I didn't realize how much I wanted a Leonidas Prime until I started thinking about it more with that video, and I just feel like it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, like, come on, what are we doing? Like Leonidas, you're gonna do him dirty like this? 600 damage factor, really, on Leonidas? Leonidas, the warrior king of Sparta, does 600 damage factor. How dare you? How dare, come on guys, what are we doing? You got to do Leo Prime. Okay, anyway guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys want to see from Rise of Kingdoms in 2026. I'm really excited to see what is coming up and what is next for the game. Of course, if you made it to the end of the video, consider dropping a thumbs up down below. It really helps out the channel a ton, and you might think you're subscribed because you've seen a lot of my videos, but you're actually not. Double check down below. And with that being said guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.